Oh boy. This down the back here, they're cleaning an alley with a gasoline powered hose. So I don't know if that's too loud. I don't know what to do. He said he'll be done soon. Daddy, what did you do with all the oil? We burned it just to push water to clean sidewalks. It just doesn't end, the noise. That's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Robert F. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Robert F. Kennedy never fails in interviews to bring up the problem of regulatory capture. He calls this merger of enterprise and government a kind of corporationism. That's the older word for the ideology later called fascism. It is the correct label. He is to be commended for raising the problem, which is a massive drag on U.S. productivity, and crying out for a solution. That's Jeffrey A. Tucker's article. Its opinion, Epoch Times, May 10th. So, okay, you can hear fine. I'm just going to stay here because other than that nightmare, it's nice out. And it'll stop. Bonjour, mon ami. Mon ami. Alors, ne discute pas tout le temps. I studied French, that's all I remember. So, I'm just looking for prices. 320, we'll go on the call with Ham at 114 to 115 on GTII, down 32 cents, 1.19 million shares. Logic was down earlier. It's at 33 cents on the bid. The ask is 37 cents. I bought a little bit today at 38 cents. Go Logic, 282, 257 to 282. And again, let me look up what I paid. But I bought a little bit of that this morning. I paid $3 for Logic this morning. I bought a little bit of it. Anyway, hey Pete, a C, not much, everything down. Oh, AC, sorry, a C. Hey Daisy, Sergio. Is the battle royale with MMTLP folks over? I don't know. I'm just, I'm just staying away. Logic is, look, who is this? OA. I don't know how to about the crimes that are occurring in the over-the-counter markets. The malefactors, the malfeasors, they simply sell stock that does not exist, and they flood the markets with counterfeit shares. Gary Gensler doesn't care. He wants to go add to his remit to get into cryptocurrency, but he can't even handle what's on his plate in front of him. So I just, we can, every day we can say, why is the stock down? Why are they down? What's the price action? Or we can just recognize that every single stock in the over-the-counter markets are under attack from criminals. We can just recognize that and stop Stop looking each day as to why. Now, in logic, to answer your question, logic is going to divide into two. In June, it's going to become it's going to become data logic and logic. I can tell the story again, but I'm going to run out of time. When that split comes, it's going into Aubrey SPAC, and then the logic company is buying a large private company. The combined value of those two should be somewhere around $2.25 out of the gate. The stock is trading for 33 cents. Why is it down? Because criminals are shorting the stock. Now, it's possible in the case of logic that there is animosity to Brent that's left over from before, and I know that there was one guy that had 1 million shares or something, and he was just selling. He might just be doing that. But the good thing about a guy like that, he can only sell once. When he's done, it's done. Logic is going to have, exiting this year, over 100 million in revenue. I think by the end of the year, Logic's going to be an $8 stock. Should I give you an analysis of every time it's down? I don't know. It becomes so repetitive. They did a Neo exchange offering at $3 2 summers ago. There were 4 companies in it that short the stock. They did an offering with a group called Ionic. Ionic shorted the stock. They bought back the deal with Ionic. And right now, I think Logic is set up for a brilliant period ahead of it where it can acquire other companies that want to go public, that have good technologies, that have good teams, that want to be public, and he can do it for the nice price. That's the story of Logic. You're paying 35 cents. When they give you 2 for 1 in June, it's going to be roughly worth $2. Over the course of the next 12 months, it could be $8, $10, $12. That's the story. What it is doing this morning is there's more sellers than buyers. And in Gary Gensler's market, there's infinite sellers because Gary Gensler does not care about the fraud that goes on in the over-the-counter markets. It's not any deeper than that. It's not any deeper than that. I think it's a buying opportunity, frankly. Hence, this morning, I bought Logic. All right, 326. I don't know how to do this. I guess oh, that's how I do it. That's how I do it. That's how I do it. This is how I do it. So I'll just call in, then I'll be on the call with him. I'm going to have to use the mute button a little bit. Not your mute button, but the button talking to Ham because of that. They are cleaning that sidewalk, boys. It's going to be a nice clean sidewalk for about 3 days. My LGIQ in Canada is now 0. No, Jeff. Jeff, your MMTLP is not 0. All that's happening is they're saying to you, you can't trade it right now. That's all they're saying. But Frank, remember this. The U.S. securities markets are entirely fraud. J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they're all ripping you off. Just remember that. I said to this, I think, a shill yesterday, a guy just with the name Sam, not a longer name. Stop being a victim. Stop you're going to get your money back, I think, at multiples, but at a minimum you're going to get your money back in MMTLP. If you can't trade in Canada, find out if you can have those shares traded on the over-the-counter market here. It's take control of your life. Don't be a victim. Today, I'll give you all something. Just to show that I follow my own advice, I sold out at the absolute crap-ass bottom of CRTD. Why? So I could buy Go Logic and Logic. I did it. I took action. Am I going to be right? Probably not. Maybe he's going to have a new financer come in and make that stock go to $1.50. But I think Go Logic in the next 2 to 3 weeks could be a $20 stock. I think Logic could be $3 in the next 2 or 3 weeks if they each have a squeeze or better. I want to take action. I don't want to be a victim. I want to say, you know what? That trade didn't work. I'm going to do something else. And if you keep telling yourself that MMTLP is zero, you're lying to yourself. It's not zero. It's just you can't trade it right now. But you will get paid on MMTLP. I don't know what to, I'll look into, I got to call in. I'll look into this Neo exchange. It's eventually going to start trading again.
Everyone, I have Bill on the phone with me also, and we're going to go over some of the stuff that we're seeing today. And I'll start out, Bill, and if you have something to say, just step in and tell me to shut up. Anyway, from the get-go, from yesterday, I just want to let everybody know yesterday's close yesterday. It looked to me a trader on a desk got the tap on the shoulder to start covering the stock. Stock started to move up from 103, started to move up. Some people jumped in and were front running the guy trying to buy it. The stock spikes to $1.50. Excuse me, he puts a wall up at $1.50, $1.50 wall. It was starting to get away from him. Today the stock opened up with a surge, big surge up 10 cents. Not a lot of shares, 100,000 shares. I've always told you the crooks need volatility. So what did they do? If it was me and I was short, I would have opened the stock at 3, then drove it down. These guys cannot do that. They opened it at 159, up 10 cents, and drove it down as fast as they could. What does that tell you? They have margin problems because they don't want more money. They want less, and they needed to do it fast before 10 o'clock in the morning. And they marked it down as fast as they can. Okay? It was a big spoof of 50,000 to buy. I think it was 145. I was on the phone with somebody. It was 145 to 148. And I said if they dropped the offer, as I was speaking, it went to 146 on 600 shares. And I said the next thing is going to be a wash. They hit the 50,000 bid. And that is their way of saying, okay, there's big sellers around. That was the message. They washed the trade to create the volume, and then they continued to attack and broke it past 140 down. Okay? These guys are pulling everything out of the playbook, washing, you name it, probably mismarking tickets, everything. They're doing it as a sign of desperation. Trust me, I don't want it to go on another day, but unfortunately we're here, and we just have to keep documenting and do what we do. Okay? Remember the dividend, I just found out Persian, if anyone has any stock in Persian, they've given everybody 0. They haven't even come up with answers yet. I got 5 calls today about Persian. All right, so every prime broker, every clearinghouse has a different story, a different game. Ameritrade, everybody got their shares restricted. Dividends create a horror show for the brokerage community. We know the crooks are going to be crooks. Okay, until someone pulls them out by the hair, they're going to continue playing the game. We turned our efforts to get the brokerage firms and trap them. West Christian and the Basil law firm, they want to sue deep pockets, not going to sue a ghost. Okay? All these guys that are short are just a ghost. They're going to walk away from these trades. Okay? Today's volume, 1.2 million, I'm going to say 800,000 was fake. Back and forth all day. They've been just ticking it back and forth to each other. They just traded it at 117. I don't know what the volume was. It's shit for sure. You know they're going to print 200 shares at 116 in a minute and just try to keep dropping the bids. It doesn't mean anything. Alibaba was down yesterday. Today it's up 5. It's just how it goes. If you understand the story and understand the risk reward, you make your own decision. We can only show you what we see. This is many years of experience. It's not just some knucklehead me. There's other people who report on it all day long. Okay? Anna just sent me the thing about the congresswoman, the senator, and I just posted it. Senator Tammy Baldwin. She met with Gary Gensler today, and to demand that the SEC use the tools Congress gave them to better protect Main Street from Wall Street big hedge funds. She put that out there. Okay? I know people that are reaching out to her that have met with her before, and we're going to get a meeting with her and really educate her. Okay? She just put that on Twitter. Okay? If anyone wants to see it, Senator Tammy Baldwin. Okay? Everyone is starting to get it. The Bankers Association is screaming. Even Jamie Dimon is saying you can't have the shorts. If they circle the wagons around the bank stocks, okay, what's everybody else going to say that's being shorted? The panic that you see in these stocks is telling me that they're close and that these guys are all going to get shut down. They know the end is coming, okay? We're not going away. This is going to hit the fan, and these guys are in a panic trying to cover, okay? I heard the short seller that was calling, GTI, has been calling again, looking to buy directors and everybody's stock again. Okay, you don't make those calls unless you sign a desperation. I wish I had their name and number. I give it to you, but I don't. I just heard that was going on. All right. One of the other stocks I follow is Finger Motion, the Chinese name. Lid Partners is short this thing. Where are they going? The company's for real. The company's got money, does business in China, and their economy's booming, and they're short 126 million shares. These guys short everything. CELU, I told you I met with the company. They knocked the stock down. The company raised money. It made a new low yesterday, down to 40 cents. And if you ever met the guy, he's a neurosurgeon. I'm sorry, neurosurgeon. Okay, these are brilliant people. They don't know what to do. You guys are just attacking them. Look what they're doing to the bank stocks. They're running through these things and creating a run on the bank. They're just stealing. And today's big news from the Wall Street Journal, the Depository Trust is selling trading information out the back door to the hedge fund buddies so they can make money. How those people aren't in jail already is unbelievable. Okay? I think, William, are you on the call, William? You there?
I'm here.
William and I had a call with my younger brother who worked at the DTC. And what did he say about the people at the DTC?
Well, what I remember is they're older than anybody that'll go out with me. They're old, retired castaways, but they're all close to Wall Street. They're all friends of Wall Street.
He said, and in other words, he was telling, what he's always said to me is that the dregs of society of Wall Street, that's their going away present. They get a job at the DTC. So it doesn't, when I saw the news of the DTC selling information out the back door, everything that I've always heard about the people that work at the DTC is true. So here it is. Obviously, a bunch of them are going to get arrested now. Obviously, if the Wall Street Journal is reporting on it, now they'll start to go down. Okay, as we speak, they dropped the offer, the 300 shares back and forth. Yesterday, I was on the call with William, and when the stock started to move up, we watched them drop the bids so fast and then try to scoop it back up. That was a sign of someone trying to cover desperately yesterday. They decided today they got together after seeing everyone on Twitter excited about the action yesterday out of the blue. Okay, and today they were going to say, "Okay, people, we're going to smack you down tomorrow."
And it's
Okay?
not working.
As long as we can still breathe, we're going to keep trying to play this game. So they just dropped the 116 bid. I don't think anything traded, maybe 100 shares, and now it's 115. Now you'll see the 100 shares offered at 116, and they'll trade it at 115.
Yeah,
it's just it's a head game. All this show is to get you to panic. This is all this is. I don't have the proof in my hand, but as a professional trader and watching the tape all day, this is complete nonsense. It's such nonsense that I don't even want to look at it anymore, because that's how stupid it is. It's all smoke and mirrors, back and forth, and there's your 115 trade. And just what they try to do is mark it down. Then they'll offer 100 shares at 116. Remember, 100 shares at 116 is changing the price of your portfolio. 100 shares out of $1 stock at $1.16. That's what they're doing.
These aren't powerful. These aren't powerful shorts anymore in here.
No,
these are just
not.
dregs themselves.
They're selling it back and forth. They make it look like they hit the 115 bid. They're just selling it back and forth. They probably sold the same stock back and forth 100 times today. Okay, so out of this 1.2 million, I think the number is enormous on fake trades, like 800,000. I would be surprised if the naked short number today is below 35%. All right, that's how make believe the trading has been today in the stock. And here it is, they move it down on 368 shares. They're just trying to mark it down. Obviously, just remember, if they thought they can win, they let it go higher. Then you make more money. They can't win. That's why they keep showing you. They keep trying to mark it down.
You always point out they sold on the way up. Most of the stock was sold at pennies, so they're still losing.
They're selling on the way down. Yesterday they were backing away. Okay, they sold yesterday morning. All the stock they shorted was below 120, down to 103. Okay.
What I meant was from the beginning, but yeah, you're right. Now there's
yeah, they definitely, they're underwater on everything. That's a different story. But they were selling yesterday on the way up. They were trying to cover some yesterday. They're selling on the way down. They're not selling on the way up. A smart short would have let the stock continue higher and make more money. I told you I would open the stock at 3 bids. And as everyone on this phone or any shareholder would have came and said, let me sell 10,000, you drop the bids real fast, buy very little from you. I'm bidding for 1,000 shares, I'll buy 100, move down, buy 100. Before you know it, in 9 minutes, I would have bought 3,000 shares, and I had the stock at $1.85. And everybody would be scratching their head, what was that? It was 3, now it's $1.85, and you keep dropping it. And that's how you accumulate and get people to sell. Stocks need to go up, people will sell. When the stock comes down, people buy. That's the way it goes. These idiots just keep moving it down and trying to sell more shares at less money. All right? Again, I have friends of mine some people that text me, they're all bidding 1, waiting for the attack, keep trying it. Yesterday, I was bidding 1, and, I turned my head, and I didn't get it. It ran away, so I went out and I bought finger motion with the extra money I had. I paid $1.99 for it, and it's back to there now. So again, it was falling yesterday. I threw a bid out there. Nothing happened. I used the capital, and I bought finger motion only because I wanted to put it to work. I had no idea they were knocking that one down yesterday. That was down 17 cents today. It's back up 13 cents today. Each day is different in this game. You saw it yesterday. We went from $1.03 to $1.50 in a blower to $1.59. This stock has got more. I told you the word for the short sellers. Everyone, this is the most important word. They need volatility. Volatility is how they get people to bail out. That's how they steal your money. Okay, yesterday I was told by a group of people, NVOS, I know nothing about it, but they said a group owns most of they own 100% of the company. Today the stock was at 21 cents. I left and I heard it got killed down to 12 cents on 50 million shares. So if people owned the whole float yesterday, I'm sure they own a lot more today. Again, I don't know anything about the company, but the story hasn't changed as far as I'm concerned. The guy was telling me they were calling the CEO up to let him know they had proof they owned the whole float. Let's see what happens there. But again, these attacks are brutal. They want the stocks to swing so that you panic out. Volatility. I'm a believer in accumulation. Okay? When they want to throw it out the window, that's when I like to buy it. I'll do it at my level. Putting a spike and trying to, people call me up all the time, why don't you break it out? I says, why? I'm no rush. Let them break it out. The short is our big buyer. They're the birthday boy here. Okay, candles are lit for them. All right, we're going to get them. Politicians are on our side. The game is going to get over. Okay, Alpine's got the death blow. We know that's coming. Okay, when that hits the tape in real time, I had people that knew of Alpine said there's criminal charges attached to that Wells notice. Money laundering, wire fraud, they will give up people. Okay, I don't forget the guy's name, John Hurry or something like that.
Yep.
When they start knocking on his door, he's going to be pointing fingers left and right to all the naked short sellers to save his ass. They always do it. Don't look. Everybody always gives everyone up. No one wants to go to jail. Okay? But this is getting serious. The bank stocks, they're going to start looking for people that shorted those stocks illegally. Obviously, those stocks fell because of naked short selling. The American Bankers Association, William, we got to get into them. I told you we're trying to get out to meet them.
We will.
We'll get into there. We'll explain the stories to them and show them how the proof, when I get the data from Tom Ronk, I'll show it to the bankers and show them how just like Pat Byrne used to do, it fails to deliver. The freedom of information on it fails to deliver on the attacks. All this information will come out. Again, the bad guys think that the paper trail goes away. They do not, unless they burn it down like they did that TD one in Chicago. What was it, TD Ameritrade? I forget who it was.
That was Griffin, wasn't it? Citadel?
Someone burnt down the whole facility with all the tickets in it. They think it's going to go away. So I was looking at the stock. It was 120, maybe 1,218,000. It's 229, and they just keep trying to whack it down. Same nonsense. Again, GTII is an option that doesn't expire. I was an option player. Trust me, I hate it every Friday. We used to laugh at it. We used to wear black on Friday because our options were expiring. You know, we would hit on 30% of our options and lose on 70%, and hopefully our winners were bigger than our losses. That's how the option game goes. They expire every week. All right? But again, these guys are going to get caught. They're playing a game they can't get out of. Remember, when you rob a bank, everyone in the bank gets robbed, gets locked up, plus the getaway driver. The person shorting our stock is the getaway driver. I think it's someone from Switzerland who's been calling around looking for stock. I think the Kramers, I think Alpine, they're all dead in the water. If the stock goes up to a certain point and rings a bell, the margin bells go off. The Kramers and Alpine shorts, there's no one answering those phones anymore. It's this guy who short 19 million shares, I think. And he has a problem because he knows that if the fuse gets lit on those other idiots, he's going to get caught too. So he's desperately trying to cover to get out of this mess. He's committing Harry Carey for us all day right here. But again, West is on it. The court dates are coming up. There's plenty of things coming up. Just so you understand, William, I hope you understand this. If we believe, and I think we're on solid ground that this number is big, okay? 200 to 400, let's play it safe, we'll say 300 million. We're right in the middle here. We got 300 million shares short, and we got 700,000 real shorts, okay? So it's 3 million, it's what is it, 300 million.
And you have to add 10% to whatever number you're using.
And then we have to add the 10% to those numbers. So these idiots got short another 30 million plus 70,000 more overnight. and it's restricted. Nothing's hitting the market. There's restrictions for 6 months. These guys are short a stock that could be $1 at $1. They're down $45 million or whatever, $37 million.
And they have to put up more cash to hold that position.
And they have to put up more cash. Everything is working against them. This will get exposed. The dividends, like we said, the dividends, people are like, oh, the dividends didn't work. This stock is alive today because of dividends. Okay? That's the only reason this company stayed and fought is because of dividends. These other companies got tremendous fundamentals. Like I said, CELU, great fundamentals. They raise money. The stock is 50 cents. These guys are trapped. The company has to build the fundamentals like GameStop. GameStop built wonderful fundamentals. It was going to zero. The stock went to 500, and now they're added them to indexes because now they're a wonderful business overnight. Why? Because they raised the money. GameStop, AMC was doing the same thing, going away. They raised money, paid off their debts. Now everything's great. Okay, money solves all the problems for public companies. They can buy a business, build a business, but you need the capital. CELU is working on life-changing drugs to save your life, and Wall Street couldn't give a shit about it. Knocking it down from $13 to $12.
They can't close it, Moody.
Down to 40 cents. On all great
That's
news,
the whole
go read their
point.
press release. I don't even understand what the hell they're saying. That's how important that press release is. All right. So again, I believe I'm not waving. I can't stop the attacks. We're not cops. I told you that 1,000 times. But we will knock on the doors. We will get the exposure. West Christian will get us discovery. The street, once they have to give us discovery, the game changes super fast. All right. I spoke to a guy who's a counsel that does a lot of this stuff. He said that the West has been MIA. I haven't spoken to him in months. But they will never say anything until the judge awards discovery because they don't want to have anybody manipulating the stock using information from the courts. So that's why that whole update is dark. No one knows what the hell's going on. We have to wait for the court system. Obviously, the rats always try to get off the lawsuit. Just think about if you get sued. I didn't do it. It's not me. And you have your lawyer send it back. We want to get removed from it. We never did it. Okay? But all the proof that's coming out about the banks being shorted, all right? Senators yelling. You don't think a judge in New York knows what's going on here in the Southern District? There's probably more people coming through that court all yelling fraud. Stop naked shorting my stock. These guys are well-versed. They're not idiots. Financial crimes have judges that know financial crimes. And when they get to a jury, a couple of people on Twitter, we all said the same thing. I would pay to be on that jury. All right? Because these guys that are manipulating the stock, if they are in the U.S., which I don't believe they are, okay, they should be hung. All right? These guys, it's like they're running over the body back and forth. They don't even give a shit who you are, anything about it. All right? And for the SEC to allow this to continue to trade one more minute, to watch this manipulation from this morning to now, is a crime that it's unbelievable. All right? Anything, William? You had something to say?
No, I'm just listening. I just noticed the front page of the Epoch Times opinion page. There's a big picture of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, and there's an article about RFK, but it's written by Jeffrey Tucker, and it's the title, The Racket of Regulatory Capture. Once you look carefully at what's really going on under the hood of the regulatory state, you can't help but be stunned. And that's yesterday's paper.
Take a picture of that.
I'll try to put it up, yeah?
Patrick Byrne, copy Patrick Byrne, because Pat Byrne has been yelling regulatory capture for a long time. He says it in his videos, and, it's right there. We all know about it. How these guys look the other way. The truck, as soon as they ban, okay, I'm just looking at SoftBank shifts war chest to AI. That's an interesting thing. Once they ban the short selling around the banks, All right, we have a new video slide presentation that will be going up. Wait a minute, maybe you could throw it up there for us. I
You
sent it
want
to
me to
you.
put it up? I can.
Yeah, if you can, while we're on the call.
Okay.
We will have a new truck out there. The minute they ban short selling, they get short selling around the banks only. Okay, they did this before. And once that's out there, we have a new version of our slide presentation, which we will have out there right in front of the SEC. And William will have it up there in a second. I think we're sending the right message. The Charlie Payne just put that the banks are blaming the media, and Wall Street is blaming the shorts.
I'm just going to put this up on.
Wants to ban short selling. It's amazing feedback. Charlie Payne is actually talking about it. Everyone's talking about the short selling.
It's up. That's up now.
This has got to come to a head, and it's going to come down to stock settlement. You can't keep doing this stuff if you don't settle.
Well, Ham. One thing about it. The message, once people understand it, the fraud, the crime, it's not that complicated. And that's what these people aren't going to be able to hide it any longer. It's complicated at first because you're learning a new lingo, but once you get it, it's just stealing.
Well, I just watched the video you put up there. It is tremendous, and everyone, I think you should retweet it. William just put it up there. When the short selling is banned on bank stocks, remember to ban it on GTI too. And then it says, the curtain opens up, GTI says, fork you. Okay? That's what a disgrace this is. I don't care what official sees it. It's a disgrace to let this go on. We have reported this for a long time. Okay? We can't, how much more? Only thing we don't have is the dead body. That's how unbelievable this crime is. We know who the market makers are. We can see who's doing what. I just want to see someone just drop 10,000 here on the close. They got to mark it down. Who is the seller of the 10,000?
Ham, this isn't a sign of strength from them. Like when you say that this is like a call option, remember nobody here is on margin. The shorts, they're on margin. They're in trouble.
Listen. No one's that desperate to come down here with 4 minutes to go, trying to sell 10,000 at the last second of the day. That is completely either going to be a wash, okay, or they're going to try to mark it down and hit the 116 bid, the 200 shares. If they're not hitting the bid, and it's 200 shares, and you got 9,600, that means it's the short at 116 and the short at 117. Okay, no market maker would sit here and bid for 200 shares. They would go in front of him and offer it at once, hit the bid and offer in front of him because they know there's 10,000 for sale. Market makers will front run your orders all day long. And I'm sure there's some market makers on this phone or brokers that know that market makers will front run your order all the time. So for it to stay here, 116 to 117 with 10,000 for sale, that is the short on both sides of that transaction. There's not even a question. And the TTRF. These are all platforms. It was a G1 execution, Citadel, NIT Virtue, and INTL is another platform. StoneX. These are just platforms. Actually, I know someone who works at StoneX now. Maybe I can get that information on who's playing the game through StoneX. All right, I'm sure it's a number to count, but you know what? People owe me favors, we can ask around. So it looks like they just crushed it and washed it, right? 200 by 8,000, 9,000, they take it, cross it, wash it at the bottom. Just create more volume. That's all they wanted to do.
How are they trading finger?
I'm not even looking at it. I don't pay. Listen, as far as finger motion is concerned, my opinion on that stock is that they picked the wrong stock. They got squeezed. The company raised the money from strong investors at a couple of bucks. The investors own it above this high. No one's selling the stock. The insiders, the people own the stock are strong holders. There's no one. They're not taking the tree here. Their fundamentals will win out. There's not even a question there. They're on dead store there. They can't. There's no way out. All right, that's a different trap. All right, GTI is a different beast. The attacks. These guys keep posting. people posting, trying to knock it down, it's just a sign of desperation. We can see it. Again, it'll firm. We'll get to D.C. We're going to get the audience with the right people. West Christian, there's no fooling around here. So I just want people to understand that, our voices. We're not fooling around. We wasted 2.5 years. We're not going away until we get a scalp. All right? We burned our boats. We're not going away. The investors here are the best investors I've ever seen in my life. And I've been fighting this battle for a long time. Overstock people were great, but they all flipped and ran away. The GTI people are super educated. I can't even tell you. I have conversations with people from all walks of life, and they all understand it. And they're all reaching out to different law enforcement. Everyone's doing their part. It's just remarkable. Everyone understands it. And that's what makes this the greatest squeeze ever, because GameStop, who I was reporting, not on the company, I couldn't give a shit what they did with their games, all right? But I reported on the short position, the naked short, and that's what I highlighted in my reports. People started to understand GameStop short as it started to rip, maybe at $50 to $100, where people were understanding what was going on, okay, about naked shorts and all that. GTII is below 2, and I can basically say 99.75% of every shareholder in the stock understands naked short selling, understands what they're doing, sees the crime. It's unheard of, and that's what makes it the most dangerous. Because when these guys do fold and they take their foot off the landmine, no one's panicking to flip it. You'll get some people flipping and trying to make their 20 cents, 30 cents. That's always part of the business. But for the most part, people know how to average up. People are watching this thing, and people understand what's at stake here, the risk reward. Okay, it's a very different game than GameStop or AMC, because there's people in here with big positions. Okay, they're not letting it go until they're very wealthy. Okay, so it's a very different game. This is a life-changing stock. A GameStop, people owned it. I told you my friends bought it at 3 3/4. There's a couple of people on Twitter that bought the stock and it didn't move for them right away and they sold it. Okay, right, Ned? So there's other people here that thought my friends bought it. I know they sold it. They bought it 3 3/4, a lot of stock. Sold it 5, 7, 9, 11, 15, and the highest I heard was 118. Okay, and that was people bought a lot of stock at 3 3/4. Were calling me up, thanking me that they made $5 on 100,000 shares. Couldn't thank me enough. Maybe a quick 500 grand. And guess what? After the stock got to 500, they were jumping off buildings, which they never heard of the name before. Okay? Because they didn't pay attention to the report and what we were saying. Even I didn't know it was going that high. But if I had 100,000 shares, I would have sold 80 and kept on to 20. All right? You would have made more on the 20 going to 500 than they did on the 80 going to 15 or 20, whatever they sold it at. All right? So this is an educated audience, and that's the reason we have the calls, is to keep filling you in on this stuff so you can understand it. The proof is coming out of our ears. I can't even put up any more proof. Today's proof is the DTC is frauds. The SEC is getting, senators are banging on the SEC's doors. The banking commission's having a kid of shit because their stocks are getting killed. The people are taking the money and run on the banks. It's insane. That's not even talking. I haven't said one word about GTII or finger motion. That's all the proof that we got. All right? But again, every day is a different day. I can't stop the attacks, but the attacks are for a reason. This is a big show to get you to sell. And William, I just wanted to leave you with this one. The depository trust in court documents put in there that GTII has a concentrated short position, which is on Wall Street, concentrated is big. Okay, they didn't say short position, 5,000 shares, 800,000. Concentrated, that is massive. All right? The DTC are full of criminals. There is no way in the world that they gave us a heads up on Alpine by mistake. They gave it to us for a reason. They want those people gone. They want the people that do business with them gone, and they want them gone. Okay? The DTC, as you can see, are criminals. They just gave out documentation on everyone's trading patterns, whether they're short or long, out the back door for money. Okay? So in a court document, for them to give us that information, that's proof. If anyone wants to know, that's like putting your fingerprints on the gun. Okay, we have the proof from the Depository Trust, the most powerful organization in the U.S. Okay, they're trillions of dollars. It's owned by the banks. Every bank, Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, everybody owns the DTC. Okay, that's the money center of the whole equity market, treasury. Everything that settles goes through this place. And they gave little GTII a court document telling you that these guys were shorting your stock and they committed fraud. Think about that for a second. That's all I need to say about who's going to jail here. And when they peel back the onion, that's when you find the Kramers and all the other short sellers that play games here. Timmy and all the other morons that tried to jump on this boat, on the Kramer free boat. And if you go back to February of 2021, I think, I can't remember anymore, is when you can find the documentation that GTI paid off the debt to the Kramers. All right, that's when the Kramers were short with no way to convert. Lynn Partners was paid off by FNGR, no way to convert. These guys shorted against the convert, and it doesn't work. Now they're trapped, and that's why the same thing like in Wolf. Their toxic lender was Yorkville. Okay, their fight is with Yorkville. I'm waiting for those guys to step up and step into the battle, and they're well versed on it. Trust me, I pitched them on it right to their face. All right, so again, I have no problem meeting with companies, and I hooked William up with a guy tomorrow who's one of the biggest guys to fight the shorts in Canada. He's a mining guy, and William will have a space call with him.
We'll do it.
And you'll take care of that gentleman. Any questions, William? And then we'll.
Well, there's a few questions, but on the point you just made about the defined large position at Alpine, just remember when Alpine goes down, whatever brokerage firm is assisted to acquire the book of Alpine, they're not going to want that trade. It's going to get closed out. So
no one would take that position on.
There's a couple of questions about that. How the restricted shares got mixed in with the tradable shares, and they're taking away the sell button. I don't think it's a big issue, but maybe you want to comment on that if you know anything.
About restriction, I think it's 6 months.
No, I know, but they're combining. Apparently, at TD Ameritrade, they're saying that you can't sell any of your stock. I think that's a momentary issue. I don't think it's.
Oh no, that was a coding error. 50 people called me up about it. Ameritrade put a coding error. They're not going to restrict your stock.
It's just a coding area. Okay.
It's a coding error. They put there's a code on the restricted stock, and when they put the stocks together, the code went to your whole stock position, restricted it all. I believe they took it off already. That's a lot of people said to me.
And there's a question, just mixing a bunch of questions together on all the catalysts coming up. I don't know that's out of our control. There's not much to say on those things.
I can't. Listen, I'm a firm believer in do nothing. I could give a rat's ass what a company does. I just showed you companies that are working on cures for cancer. They don't care. Okay, so it doesn't make a difference. Banking system, they're after them. They couldn't care less. People are going to lose all their pensions, their money in the bank, you name it. Who knows the damage to a community on these banks? They just don't. No one cares. They don't care about anything. And who's doing it? Is it offshore people doing this?
Oh yeah, it could be money laundering, could be terrorism, could be.
Anyway, yesterday we saw that the UAE is shorting billions of dollars of U.S. stocks. So these trades come from offshore, right? It's not just the U.S. playing the game. Do you think that? How would you like to be the broker? I would have loved to have been the broker shorting the UAE, getting in here on the stocks, right?
It's amazing.
Can we borrow this many shares of the stock? Absolutely. They didn't even question them. Here you go, short it. You're done.
Well, and that's when Jamie Dimon's asking for stop shorting on the banks. He benefited from it, number one. But number two, it's not the issue. The issue is that these guys can sell endless amount of stock intraday that doesn't exist. They don't have to locate it. That's the problem. But
Jamie Dimon is making noise because he benefits when the banks are going bust.
That's
He's
right.
getting the good parts, the bad parts he's dropping on the U.S. and the U.S. Government, which is us, okay? And that's so he's making noise like, hey, I didn't ask for this. Stop it. I'm telling you to stop it. So he'll pick up some more good assets, whether it's from PacWest, whoever it is, the next one that falls apart. They'll carve up the body, take whatever's good, leave the U.S. with the pieces of shit, whatever's bad, and he'll make more money. But he has to throw in it as he's a good guy. Stop this short selling as he's laughing in the other room.
It's just, it's incredible. I'm getting a lot of questions, and I'm just going to say quickly my own piece. Everybody in MMTLP, Ham massively helped the community of MMTLP. Charlie Payne, Wes Christian, and much, much more. And we're all on the side of MMTLP, but they're all asking about their.
I don't want to listen.
I just don't want to be involved in the drama myself.
No, listen, I wish them the best. They're in a stock, they're trapped. I feel bad for them. I know a lot of investors. I know friends of mine that own it. I don't own it. And I don't need people telling me I'm stealing their community. I could care less. I never heard of the stock before until the shit hit the fan, and that's when I reached out and I tried to help everyone. I got him on Charlie Payne, John Berta. Charlie Payne destroyed the SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce, and Hester Pierce is someone I'm told is helping everybody out. Why? Because she got roasted alive by Charlie Payne and put in a bad spot. Okay, so it's tough for her to backpedal on what she did on television. But Charlie Payne is the only guy that ever asked those questions. When she tried to tiptoe and dance around, every reporter let them go. He hammered her.
And
She
that
said file complaints. He said there's thousands of them already. Don't be skirting around the issues. He told her point blank.
and
They know about it. Anna met with the Gensler. The other senator today, Baldwin, met with Gensler. The heat is on. We're going to get them.
and Charlie Payne's been a long-term relationship with yours on short selling. And anyway,
Charlie Payne had a public company many years ago. They making sure that his company. It was Wall Street Strategies. He knows all about it. Okay?
Wow.
But
Wow.
he works for Fox. He's got a great job. He's got a career. You know what? I can't blame him for not throwing his hat in, all the way in. I believe that once anybody else steps in, he will be all in. But you know what? The guy's got a family. You know what? He's got to take care of his own. And the rest of us, you know what? Back to the front line, and we just keep fighting. That's it. We burn our boats. We're not going away. I work 24/7, 7 days a week. I'm here to expose the fraud. Okay? I'm trying to throw the banks under the bus so that people would pay attention. I sound like a total scumbag about the bank stocks. Kill them all. I could care less.
Well,
Maybe someone will wake
what
up.
good did
when
they do
start
us?
losing all their money, they'll join our fight.
What good do the banks do us? I mean, liquidity at what cost? Credit at what
Yeah.
cost? You know, I mean, it's.
Listen, someone is unwinding the whole country. No one knows where all these sales, where the money's going. Again, I think that the GTII, there's a client, some broker out of Utah's got a client in Switzerland. Listen, when you buy a stock, William, you say, I asked you, William, what are you doing? You say, I just bought FNGR. And I was like, what about it? You tell me the story, and I say, I'm buying some, right? On the other side of the fence, when they sell a stock short, all these years, Alpine has been this killing companies, right?
Right.
Sure their network has a couple of big players that they bring in, because everyone's always saying to me, why don't you bring the whales to the table? Well, what do you think Alpine did? They brought a whale to the table on the short side.
Right.
Now the short seller, this whale guy, short 19 million shares, is stuck in the stock, knowing that everybody is walked away. They robbed the bank, and they left him in the bank. He's inside the bank. And now what is he trying to do? He's trying to get out.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And now he's stuck. Now his only thing is he's been doing this probably 20 years, robbing everybody, living offshore. He's trying to get out, and the only thing he knows is let me keep trying to knock it down, and maybe everyone will panic. And guess what?
And it's not working this time.
But every time before, 99 out of 100 times, these guys destroyed companies. No one fights back. CELU, 15 to 40 cents. Here's the fight. And go look at the holders of CELU. Go look at the names that own that company. BlackRock, this one, everybody owns it. And they don't even fight back. I told the CEO, give me 5 minutes for each one of those holders. I'll get them all to triple their position. But they chickened out, so that's what happens. And ULN, chicken out, did nothing, destroyed his company. That's what happens. Once you're afraid, this game, you're finished. Now that everybody's starting, now that everybody is opening up, screaming about naked short selling, I'm sure you're going to see a lot of other companies step up now because now it's safe to come out.
Right.
Right? Before, GTI stepped out here, had nothing to lose, and went for it. Right?
Right.
They could have taken the money from Charlie Mayo when he called up. In case anyone forgot, the short seller, Charlie Mayo, calls the company up and wanted to buy stock after the company paid off its debenture, tipping their hand that they're short, they wanted to cover, and the CEO did nothing. Okay? He stood tall. No, he didn't reverse the stock. He didn't dilute it. He's been standing tall. No other company's done that. And it's not the fault of the companies. They have shareholders. They have to keep their businesses going. GTII stood tall, and that's one thing you have to remember about these people. They've done everything properly. They got us into the courts. You know how hard it is to get West Christian to take the case? West only takes cases if he sees $1 billion lawsuits here. He's not playing the game for fun. He needed to see proof, not that my introduction, my word is there. He needed to see evidence. And guess who gave it to him? The DTC. All right? Just in the middle of this whole thing, he got proof from the DTC, and that's when he starts stepping on their neck and wants more information. All right? So I believe in the team. I think it's strong. We're hitting them in every direction. And like I said, education is the most important thing here. If you're not educated, and if you're watching this stock and you don't know what the hell's going on, you're sitting with a gun in your mouth, because that's how crazy it is. One day it's up, the next day it's down. It's all over the place. Okay? It's very difficult. But when you understand it, like I understand everything in finger motion, okay? I understand their business. I met management. I watch their videos. I do everything. So when it ticks down, I don't even pay attention. I don't even watch it because I know it's going to work. I don't know what day it's going to work. I calculated the short. I got it from Tom Robbins, 126 million. We saw it ourselves. It was 9 million. It went to 126. I've been reporting that short since 2018 in finger motion. Okay? My friend Linda was the first person to buy the stock December 31st at 278. That's how long I've been following that stock. Okay, so I can tell. But again, I can't tell you when it's going to go up. You know, if the company's got good news, bad news, when it comes out, I read it just like you do. All right, so I'm not panicking. I'm not worrying about it. GTI has a different short. We have a short that's a kamikaze. This guy's out of his mind, whoever it is. Okay, Lynn Partners is trapped, booked, is stuck. Okay, GTII has got a kamikaze guy here. For his actions today tells me they're in such a bad way. Okay, someone's coming for them. They know it's coming, whether it's West at the courts, whether it's the DTC, whether it's stock loan, whether it's the dividend, margin police, something is on their back. The FBI, don't remember, the firm out in California, I forgot the name of the goddamn place, the broker got stuck for
PacWest,
whatever it was. Okay, the broker in that company got stuck. They called the FBI on the guy. Okay, and they believe that short seller's the guy all over the street. Maybe that's coming down. I don't know. Okay, but every day the proof and this financial system is falling apart, and we've been outlining the proof for a long time. Now, I had no idea the DTC was selling stuff out the back door. That's a new one to me. But attacking the bank stocks is great news for us. Bad news for the people who own bank stocks, okay? But again, it's great news for us. Anything else, Bill? You got any other questions? Anybody else?
I don't see a whole lot of complicated questions. They're asking other tickers, and I don't think you're interested in
No,
that.
I don't want to. Listen, there's so much crazy stuff going on here between the Paul Icon saga and Hindenburg, and the Vita. These are things that I follow. Big names. I really don't follow the small ones. I can't.
I guess you could comment. You could comment on whether or not they'll. I know the answer. That whether they'll halt trading in GTII, whether every single share has to be bought back. Just what kind of dynamics are involved when the Kramers stop selling and the error account starts buying?
Listen, yesterday, someone I just described it to you. I work on a trading desk. You're my superior. He came over. Hey, you're short 19 million shares. Start buying it back. I start to buy it, and that is a controlled buy-in, meaning I'm the trader. I'm the guy that's short the position. I'm controlling how to buy it back. Okay? My boss just told me, start closing it up. So I start trying to cover it. It gets away from me real quick. It starts to get to $1.50. It pops today. He turns to his boss and says, I can't really do it. And the boss is going to say, well, you better figure it out. So he decides to attack it, knock it back down, and, maybe tomorrow come back and try to scoop it back up. That's what he's trying to do. He tried to take the excitement from everybody who was on Twitter yesterday. Ace, everybody with their videos. Ace was all excited. I was excited for Ace. Okay? I watched this video. I was all excited. Everyone's excited. It looks like it's going to go. It pops a little bit. When it goes up 10 cents, okay, and that's the pop, that tells you how desperate they are. I told you I wouldn't have sold the share till $3 if I was a short. But this guy is definitely turned, and he's trying to cover. You say, well, the stock's down today. I'm telling you, the pattern is yesterday's pattern to today is yesterday he's trying to cover because he just took off it out of nowhere. No, I didn't know anything. He just took off. And today the attack was so brutal, so as fast as you can. He's trying to send a message to Ace. Ace, go put your Super 49 hat on, Ace. I'm sticking it down your throat. That's what he's telling you, Ace. That's what happens when you work on Wall Street, Ace. They're sticking it down your throat. I'm only breaking your hump, Ace, so I'm only using your name. But again, this is what they tried to do. Say, hey, investors, shut up. We control this. That's what the message he was trying to send today. Tomorrow, it could be a different game. Tomorrow, where's he going? We're in the same spot. Where are you going? He had to park it down here for a reason. Why did he want it down here? Because someone's knocking on his door. Whether it's money, something, and maybe he washed a lot of trades today because he needs to deliver 600,000 shares. Maybe someone's calling for the dividends. I don't know. But there's so many catalysts. I don't know how they keep hiding. You can't hide. They owe 30 million dividend shares.
And when the control of the buy-in goes from the guy to...
That's the control. I just gave you a controlled buy-in, meaning it was trying to come in yesterday controlled. He turned today trying to knock it down because he's trying to buy stock back. So he's trying to see if big people are going to come out of it. The group I know with 35 million shares, he's looking for them, and they're saying, F you, we're not coming out. We're not going anywhere. All right, so that's what they're fishing for. That's what the volatility is about, to scare people out. Volatility gets people nervous. That's what happens at Tesla. I like to trade volatility. I was a trader of volatility. I love to trade volatility. The crazier the swings, that's where you can make your money. I always told you, I buy them when they're ugly. And I look at my other hand and I always write down, when I buy them when it's ugly, when I say, oh, this stock looks great, that's when I used to sell them. All right? Yesterday, GTI looked great. All right? I wouldn't sell it. That's my opinion, because I know why I'm here. But if I was trading Tesla, and a Tesla, I just bought it at, let's say I just paid $120 for it, and now it's $150, up $30. I'm just using the numbers like GTI, 120 to 150. You say I'm up $30, take it easy. This looks great. And then today it's down. So, I mean, that's how I trade. But again, this show today is just, it's all about somebody who's in trouble, and I can see it's coming from every which way. I don't even understand it. It's like we're standing all shooting the same guy. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's a sign of weakness. It's a sign of weakness on their part, I think. But
oh no, there's no question. There's no question. The game has changed. There's not even a question. You know, again, how they keep trying to hold it down is the most amazing part of the whole thing. They won't let it go up at all. Tells you that they have a huge margin problem. And people who were with me from 2.5 years ago, we discussed margin for months and months about margin. Anything else?
No, I don't see many more questions. They're asking about other stocks, but I don't think that's our point here.
No, I don't follow it. I only follow, a couple, when I hear something, I'll let you know about it, and that's about it.
I think it's a great job you've done, and we all owe you big league.
I couldn't do this without everybody here, again, Dirty Mayo, the Baker, the Crayon Eater, Optimuse, been around 100. I think Optimuse is 118 years old now. He's been around that long. These people have been fighting this for a long time. Educated, smart people. This isn't. I'm the biggest dummy here. Okay, it's the truth. I only know this in college football. That's about it. Other than that, I can't cross the street. But again, there's smart people. I thank everybody for their work. Anna, who I just happened to meet, she's wonderful. She's people don't understand what a wonderful person that is and what she's doing, and the people surrounded that are from the MMTL people that are fighting. It helps everybody. Okay, no one's going to survive this unless we all work together.
Yep.
Because I told you, they're stealing from you. They're going to steal from your kids, your grandkids. They're not going to stop. Okay, I know they're not stealing from my kids and my grandkids. I can tell you that. And I made that statement. Okay, I'm stopping it now. Whether you want to be here or not, that's your business. I know a lot of people who bought GTI when it ran to 9, they sold it, never heard from them again. I'm fighting. They sold it, made money, take it easy. Many have come back because they got their ass handed someplace else. And I told people, the market's all fraud. They can't help themselves.
Ace tells you that you're wrong about the Niners. He forgives you for hating the Niners.
I'm a college football fan. I don't watch pro football. Only Jameis Winston. I'm sorry. That's it. But anyway, so listen, I appreciate everybody here. People that I don't even know. All the guys on Twitter. It's just fantastic. I speak to a lot of people. Again, this is a tough fight. I can't do it by myself. Everyone's got my back. Anna found the Baldwin press release, the Twitter thing today. Someone found Jamie Dimon's press about the shorts, the American bankers, introductions to, I'm sending stuff to Jim Jordan's office about Root. I've been doing that for a while. Again, I'm not pitching GTII to politicians. I go state by state and find the stock that they're getting ripped off with the people in their state that know the company. Okay? This isn't about GTII. This is about all the stocks. Once we expose it, GTI will benefit, okay? Because everyone knows who we are, okay? And the truck, if anybody can see the truck on the new slide presentation on Twitter, all right? Retweet it, because attach bank stocks to it. Let them know we're coming. That's what it's going to be in front of the SEC as soon as they put the ring. And I'm sure everybody's going to be pissed off when you see Goldman Sachs is protected by the short selling ban. And JP Morgan, they're going to be protected themselves. Okay, then you're going to be pissed off and say, what about us? And it's going to be JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, all the financial stocks. Oh, you got to protect us. If you want, go and look. Go back to 2008. You can see the names of all the stocks that they protected.
They took 2 banks down then, though, Bear Stearns and Lehman, so they might take one down this time.
Well, they're trying to take it down. I don't understand it. Why, people, why don't the big guys go after Goldman Sachs? Go after one
I think they should go after Goldman.
Right,
Go for the gusto.
That's $320. Go for that one. That'll be a nice tumble.
Take it from
everyone. Have a great night, and hope I helped out. All right, guys.
You're the best, Tam.
Thank
you. Bye. All right, guys. So welcome here, Ace, and for everybody that was, see you, Tony, and for everybody that was asking about, he doesn't want to talk about MMTLP. He doesn't mean anybody ill will. You hear him. I mean, he's pretty blunt, but he doesn't carry a grudge longer than it takes to go buy a hot dog. But he'll let you know where he thinks in the moment. And, to him it's not about he said, she said. It's about getting the shorts. I kind of with that myself. What was the dividend for GTII? They issued it 1 restricted share for every 10 common share you have. Restricted just means it's common share, but you can't trade it for, it looks like it's going to be a 6-month hold. They could change that, but the standard restriction in the United States is 6 months. Well, that's the sign of a good man not to hold grudges. But on the other hand, as he always says, if you saw these criminals, these shorts, robbing your wife, you'd bring out a gun or a baseball bat and crush them to the ground. So that's what they're doing. Wolfie's here. Hi, Wolfie. I don't know what I said, M. Casey, but I'm glad I said something right. I must have done something wrong in my life. You were asking about Korean women. Well, Lion, there are women on this show, so I don't know if it thrills them to be on the prowl. But I'll ask him next time I talk to him. I'm a little more relaxed, but part of the, to this guy, Sam, there was just one name, Sam, which I assumed was a shill. Maybe he wasn't. But the thing is, when it's out of your control, all you can try to do is to re-educate yourself, maybe start a new plan, and then take a deep breath, assume, okay, how bad can it get, and how much time can it take? And then just say, okay, I've adjusted my positions the way I want, and I'm gonna ride the storm out and see what happens in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks. My own opinion on GTII is that what happened yesterday with the stock trading, they tried to get it down below $1. They used all of their feeble powers to do it, and all of a sudden it was running to the upside. It was a lot of volume yesterday. Somebody was covering, somebody is trapped. And that 19 million shares, those guys are calling all the big shareholders looking for stock. That's not because they're in a strong position. They're getting heat from somewhere. Is it the heat from high interest rates? Is the heat from low liquidity? Is it the regulators over in Switzerland saying Credit Suisse isn't allowed to send this kind of a crappy position over to UBS? I don't know. Is it Alpine going down? We don't quite know. But yesterday was a massive sign of weakness. And so today, they brought all hands on deck. They're all coordinating with each other. Jeremy Frommer is 100% incorrect, in my opinion. When you see orders on a $1.30 stock for 1,112, or you see an order go through for 259 shares, this is not the computers trying to confuse you that there's an active retail marketplace going on. I mean, maybe part of it, I don't know. I think Jeremy's an honest guy. I don't think he's making it up. But making up his point of view, but I think he's totally wrong. The market makers and the criminals are communicating with each other. And so today they decided to smack it down to take the heart out of all of us. Flip it on its side. Flip it on its side. This is a sign of weakness. They're the ones under margin pressure. They're the ones with unlimited risk. So and that's, you're saying I'm more relaxed. I'll tell you about a small trade I did today, which is probably going to be a mistake. But I took the time to take a deep breath, think it through. And if they drive a GTII lower, fine. I'll just wait it out. It's not going to escare me. And I don't think it's going to escare any of you. But their potential profit, I think if the stock went to zero in GTII, they'd still lose money collectively. I don't know, one or two of these opportunistic, disgusting people might make a tiny trade, but they're all hit and run guys, the ones on the margin. So anyway, from here, maybe they can short it down to decades, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 cents. Maybe. That's not much of a reward in return for a risk that the stock could suddenly open up. I literally believe once their selling disappears and an error desk starts buying, once it breaks out, I'm not talking about the back and forth. Once it breaks out in a buy-in, this stock could be $500 in an hour. I'm not promising it, but it has that kind of potential. And that's the risk they're taking. And here they are bullying you, driving it down I didn't even look where it closed. On 1 million shares, I assume. 1,206,000. They got it down 28 cents to $1.19. Well, combine the 2 days together. Just combine the 2 days together, yesterday and today. Yesterday, it opened, to my memory, at 108. They drove it down to 103 or 2, and it broke out to the upside. Well, just combine those 2 days together. It's still closing higher than where it opened yesterday. The volume is huge. It's not, I'd like to see more volume, but it combined the 2 days, it's over 2 million shares, and they couldn't get it down. This is not a sign of strength. I pity the fool. I pity the fool who's short. My prediction? Pain. My prediction? Pain. So anyway, I feel better, not because I can predict what happens in the next hour of trading or the next day of trading, but I think what was shown yesterday is massive weakness. They've shown you somebody has to buy in, and it traded as high as $1.50 in a heartbeat. When this machination has to stop, which could be someone tapping on the desk saying, "Hey, Vinny, we're buying you in," or "Hey, Franco, either do it yourself or we're doing it." That could come at any time, and the stock will be at $1.50 before you can take a deep breath. So don't obsess about the stock price. I'm not really looking at it. Okay, I'll tell you a trade I did today because and it's probably going to be wrong, but at the lows, at the absolute lows, I gave up on Vocal. Now, am I giving up on Vocal in the medium and longer term? No. But I absolutely lost money on Vocal. I had confidence in Jeremy. I still I cannot fathom that when there's a bid on the table to buy out your company for $100 million in stock of GTII, and you're going to be CEO of the combined entity, I just don't understand negotiating a better deal than that. And he said on a space call he wanted to get all of the hot money out of his stock. Well, he accomplished that. He took all the energy out of his stock. But I still stand by the positives I've said about Vocal, and I won't bore you with them now. I still see value in it. But here's the two things that I see as perplexing. One is, I think the guy needs to raise some money because he has a burn rate. Two is, I'm not sure that people, from when I talk around, that anyone has confidence in his predictability any longer. And three is, how do you raise money now? Even from a whale, it's going to be lower than the price the stock's trading. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to go up. He's going to sell his OG collection at some point. But anyway, I don't want to talk it down. And I realize that at some point, Vocal can snap back very nicely. And I think as soon as some of these other stocks run, we can go do good things with Vocal. But in the short run, I bought GoLogic today at $3. Not a lot. It was 1,000 more shares. And I bought some thousands of shares of Logic. I don't remember right now. It wasn't much. Maybe 10,000 shares, something like that. But I paid 38 cents for Logic, and I paid $3 for GoLogic. What I see happening in the short run on GoLogic is the potential for a squeeze. There's roughly 1.1 million shares in the float. Over 900,000 are closely held. I think the major shareholders in GoLogic are not willing to sell at these prices. And my understanding is it's possible that some of the players that circled around HKD and TOP might be the same players in GoLogic, but I have no access to evidence on that. I'm just relaying something I've heard from more than one source, and I can't confirm it. So that's really in the area of a bald-faced rumor that whether it's real or not, I don't know. But what could happen there's 350,000, I know it's really small numbers, but 350,000 shares hanging out there naked short that these hot money guys shorted, expecting over 20 million shares of GoLogic to come on the market from guys like me who've been holding restricted stock for well over a year in GoLogic. So I think there is a really strong potential for a dynamic short squeeze to come in to GoLogic over the next 1, 2, 3 weeks. And what's the target? Chris LeCoisier said he talked to a consultant. It's on Twitter, and it could go to $80. I don't know. But it could be a nice return. On Logic, I think in the short run, the stock is going to have an effective date to split into two parts. If there's some kind of short squeeze, maybe it goes to $3 or $4. Hi, Bambino. How are you? That's such a nice smile. It's so nice to see you. Hi. Cutest little kid. He's always got the best smile. He's always happy. He's always happy. Anyway. Did I see the video from Finn Germaez? No, I don't know who Finn Germaez is. Germaez. All I know is Finns do it. Bees do it. Even oysters do it. So let's fall in love. Every time I have a video, I ruin its ability to monetize. But I always, yeah, that's it. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. And it'll ruin. I'll get some sort of notice that it's a copyright, but I don't make any money here anyway.
Isn't that why birds do it, bees do it, even educated fleas do it? Let's do it. Let's fall in love.
In Spain, the best opera sets do it. Lithuanians, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's fall in love.
The Dutch in Old Amsterdam do it. Not to mention the Finns. Folks in Siam do it. Think of Siamese twins. Argentines, Italians do it. People say in Boston even beans do it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love. Cold Cape Cod clams against their wish do it. Even lazy jellyfish do it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love. Electric eels, I might add to it. Though it shocks them, I know. Why ask if shad do it? Way to bring me shad roe in shallow shoals. English souls do it. Goldfish in the privacy of bowls do it. Let's do it. Let's fall in love.
That's Alanis Morissette. Anyway, so that's all I know about Finns. I don't know this guy Finn Garowich. I just know Finns do it. So if Alpine is toast, who is shorting GTII? Woody. The shorting going on right now, nobody knows. But the criminal shorting in GTII right now is probably a combination of whoever this, originally probably Alpine called into their best clients in Switzerland and said, could you help us out? And Switzerland started shorting. They're calling around trying to get rid of this position of 19 million shares. But around them, look, there's probably hundreds of millions of dollars offshore from this trade or in other trades. Around them are these opportunistic criminals that sit in boiler rooms. They don't put on a jacket. They probably work out in the gym. Hey, look at that. And they get in their car that has the top down. They say inane thing to girls at bars, and they're pleased with their life. They are hitting and running it. They're probably getting paid to do it, and then they're getting help Criminal number 1 shorts the stock at 150. Criminal number 2 shorts it at 135. Criminal number 3 shorts it all the way down to 120. Another criminal comes in by shorting stock and buys it from the first one at 115. They lock in that profit. They buy it from the second one, lock it at that profit. They're just moving the short position over to other LLCs and other market makers. They're stiffing prime brokers. But in the first case, they sold at 150, they cover it, they get to take that profit out of the market anywhere, and they split it up amongst themselves however it's organized. That is a criminal crime. Criminal crime. That is a RICO crime. That's what's going on, Woody, and they join in to make it look like it is a lot of selling. Woody, there are no sellers in GTII. At least not at these prices. Eventually, at higher prices, you're going to see the whales sell GTII. But right now, the whales aren't selling. The whales aren't lending. GTII bought back the entirety of its criminal, usurious, toxic note from Kurt Kramer, Seth Kramer, and Charlie Mayo over 2 years ago. There are no warrants. There is no toxic note covering it. The lawyer, Richard Nadich, maybe signed a form that convinced brokerage houses and prime brokerages that, hey, we have this financing in place, so we're backstopped. But you know what we do. We just crime it on down. But I doubt if there's such a letter, I doubt he updated it. So the criminals continue to sell, Woody. It's not that hard to get, and it's like I don't know what to compare it to. It's like you're walking through a bad section of town, and you get beaten up by the head. I don't know, one of the head gangsters, and he takes your Rolex watch and your gold pen and your ring, but you're stumbling down the sidewalk, and a bunch of younger punks and pickpockets see you stumbling, and they start hitting you and knocking you around, and you're spinning around, and one reaches in and grabs your cell phone, the other reaches in, is able to get your wallet, the other one reaches in and is able to get your credit cards, and one of them's able to reach in another pocket and get your wad of $100 bills, and they're hitting you and spinning you around and working as a team, but they each get their own benefit, and then they spin off and they run away as soon as you're either dead or maybe a cop comes around the corner and they zip off. GTII is, they think, reeling because it's worked before. The big guy came in, the Kurt Kramer thug, Godfather, John Hurry came in, crushed it down, and they think that GTI is stumbling down the block trying to get back to the hotel, and so they're in trying to benefit. They'll knock it down. The difference is ham. The difference is you, Woody. The difference is there is buying. The difference is the company is not selling new shares to the criminals the way COSM did, the way CLNV did, the way other companies do, APE and GME. They're not doing it. The other difference is you're not selling in volume anyway as they come down. It's not working. But what we do, and I get messages, how do you explain the stock down today? How can I explain it any differently? That would be a more interesting question. Can you explain the same pattern, the same story, the same activity using different vocabulary? Because it's the same thing, Woody, over and over and over and over again. This is a case of a trapped short. Originally, Woody, when Reichman signed the note with the smiling faces of Power Up Lending, who pumped up the CEO with the story that we're going to be your partner. Go read the press releases, and we're going to be here to help you grow, and we love your business plan. As soon as these liars signed, even before the signature hit, they started selling the stock in the open market, giving Reichman his own money, basically. Well, that happened in November of 2020. In January of 2021, Reichman paid Kurt Kramer's 25% penalty off of par. Kurt Kramer had given money at a discount to par. So Reichman paid a 25% bonus on top of par within the time frame that Kurt Kramer and Robert Nadich had given in the document, which was 6 months. You can, if you buy it back, you have to pay the penalty. And guess what, Woody? All of the warrants, all of the stock at the transfer agent, all of the potential shares that could come had to be given back. The contract was torn up. At that time, Kurt Kramer, his brother, his henchmen, and their boiler room, and the 6 or 7 guys from Long Island were short 40 to 60 million shares naked of GTII. What did Kurt Kramer do? He didn't buy it back. No. He's much smarter and better than that. He just kept selling. And we've watched it every single day. Now you can say, well, they bought it back. How do you know they didn't buy it all back? Because just look at the recent activity. Just look at the last 2 days. They can't buy it back. That 19 million shares, they haven't even nibbled at buying it back. Because if they stopped holding it down, it's like like Pat Burns says, it's like taking your foot off of a landmine. It's going to blow up. So they keep the pressure on. They're hoping for a miracle. They're hoping for you panicking out. They're hoping they can convince the company to take their money. They're hoping that Joe Biden invades Ukraine and starts the World War III with Russia. Oh, well, we won't get into politics whether or not we're in war with Russia now. I mean, wouldn't that be stupid to start a war with a country that's full of generals that could just launch missiles and take out Chicago, New York, L.A. in a heartbeat? That'd be kind of stupid. I mean, he must be thinking that through. But anyway, maybe they're just hoping for some miracle, Woody. So it started, let's say, with 50 million shares. It's been 30 months since then. Some months they've sold another 10 million. Some months they sold another 2 million. Some months but let's just say it's 5 million a month for 30 months. That's 150,000. A million. Just call that 200 million. I'm using low numbers, by the way, from what we tracked, just to allow for, hey, you can't do it that way, you can't trust those numbers, because it's all opaque. The reason we don't know the numbers is Jamie Dimon doesn't want you to know it. Well, guess what? The dividend just came out, and if it's 200 million, they just added 20 million more to the fire. So, Woody, what happens is these are bullies. These are punks. They see the big guy come in, drive it down. They figure, hey, we can go make some fast bucks. We can make a fast buck. Well, guess what's different here? The stock isn't going down. Oh, sure, it's gone from $3 down to $1. But it rallied right back to 150 in about 2 hours, 3 hours. And don't kid yourself, because today they used everything they could to bring it down. It can snap back, and when it goes to 150 this time, it'll go to 180 in 3 hours. They're not in a strong position, Woody. But these are bullies, just like those pickpockets and weaklings that take advantage of you as you stumble drunkenly back to your hotel room after the big gang member took your Rolex watch and your gold pen and your gold ring. And these are just the punks that come on to hit and run. That's who's doing it right now. They're communicating with each other, but they don't have staying power. They don't have any power at all, except trying to psych you out and trying to do a quick trade. Maybe today they made $2,000. Maybe today they made $5,000. Gary Gensler condones it. He condones it. It's open season on investors in Gary Gensler's world. Open season. But these guys, Woody, are trying to make 500, 1,000 on a day, 2,000 on a day. They have no talent. They're not particularly smart. But what they do know is if they can use a market maker under the exemption of Reg Show, they can sell counterfeit shares intraday all day long. What's their risk? Well, if they work together, it's not very much because they can tap it down. Look what they did. The stock went from 103 to 150. They got it back down. They can control their risk. But for how long? They're still open on many of those trades, Woody. But they, amongst themselves, they close some of them. Maybe they share those profits, or maybe they do it on a rolling basis. So right now it's your turn, Joey. Next time it's your turn, Raul. Next time it's your turn, Billy Bob. And they just move it around. They close them out. And it always has worked in the past. They can, as you saw in AMC, and as you saw in GME, and as you saw in COSM, it's always worked when the stock goes up. If they keep selling, they can drive it back down, and they've always made money. That's what goes on, Woody. Kramers aren't doing it anymore, unless they're doing it from some offshore account. Probably Alpine's not doing it anymore. Alpine certainly, almost certainly, is not processing trades. It might be through Vision up in Connecticut or New Jersey. It might be offshore accounts. But they're just trying to take advantage of what they see as a wounded company. It's like on the Serengeti. If a lion takes down a zebra, a bunch of hyenas circle around trying to get in as soon as she's finished eating. Or if the cubs come in, they want to come kill a cub and then take the carcass. That's what goes on, Woody. It's not that difficult to understand. Just because Alpine's finished, just because Kramer's finished, doesn't mean they don't. There's these other short sellers that don't see an opportunity here. They know you've already bought all you're going to buy. And they can flood the system under Gary Gensler's marketplaces intraday, hitting Goldman Sachs's F3 button saying, we are going to deliver these shares. It's all a lie. Gary Gensler says it's okay. And they do it over and over and over, Woody. They're just selling shares that don't exist. And they're testing out how far they can drive it down and then take that quick profit, Woody. It's 150. Let's all drive it down. We'll take quick profits. As soon as the cop comes around the corner, we'll run away. And if the guy's foolish enough to go to his ATM, the cop leaves, we'll go take his money again. That's all it is, Woody. Now, the people in Switzerland with 19 million shares calling the company to buy, they may be hiring some of these people to do it, because whoever is in Switzerland might be lying to their portfolio manager. They might be lying to the compliance officer overseeing their trading desk. They may be lying to regulators about the trading they're doing. They may have a margin call that kicks in at $1.50. You don't know, Woody. But it's desperate times for the short, in my opinion, in GTII. I know you've seen it before, you've heard it before. I know. But the number is 350 million probably right now, and I know people are going to say, no, how do you know that? All right, cut it down. It's been added on to by the restricted share dividend that they owe you. And how much more can they sell? Can they take it to $1 billion? Sure, they did it with DBMM. They did it with GTLL. They did it with a lot of other stocks. But this time they have Ham. They have all those names Ham gave: Optimus, Crayon Eater, Dirty Mayo, now I'm forgetting, all the GTII Army. They have the company. The company's not selling you out. So the selling is a sign of desperation amongst criminals trying to opportunistically, like day traders, taking money out of the market for free because they have the right, under Reg Show, under Gary Gensler's oversight, they have the right, under Gary Gensler's permission, they have the permission to sell shares that don't exist, Woody. So they're saying to themselves, hey, let's just keep that. This is the zebra that's down. Let's keep eating at it, trying to get another bite. And then when it turns, we'll walk away from the LLC. They can sell non-existent shares. Tomorrow morning, they can wake up, have their breakfast, tell their floozy good night, turn on their computer, and out of thin air, under Gary Gensler's system, under the Reg Show exemption, they can sell shares that they make up out of their mind that morning, and they can pile it on. What's their risk? Well, they're doing it in an LLC. So the risk is they walk away. They don't look at what they did to Pac West. They were selling, they walked away. They stiffed Pac West with a $4 million loss. So if you have no morals, Woody, if you're snorting cocaine to divide your guilt from your pleasure, if you're making money on top of money and you have a gambling habit maybe, and you're just doing it over and over and over again, Woody, you're just selling shares out of thin air that don't exist. Does it matter who's doing it? Does it matter, Woody, who's doing it? It was the Kramers. And then it's Alpine and probably some guy out of Switzerland. But it can be any of 5 or 10 or 20 guys waking up in the morning saying, I need to make some money. And they call their market maker and they say, sell some GTII, sell some more GTII, sell some more GTII. It starts at 150, it goes to 120. Let's say they sold 10,000 shares at 150. They get 30 cents on 10,000 shares, $3,000. $3,000 they make for doing nothing. That's Gary Gensler's America. That's Hillary Clinton's America. That's Joe Biden's America. Who the hell cares? Look at this Epic Times. Look at this. Look at this. SEC, racket of regulatory capture. Look who's on the bottom. RFK. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. never fails in interviews to bring up the problem of regulatory capture. You've got two men running for president, Donald Trump and RFK Jr., that will fix this problem. But if I bring up politics, we've got to focus on other things that I'm not going to talk about, instead of the fact that every politician out there is corrupt, from Hillary Clinton to Joe Biden. I think Mitch McConnell. They're all corrupt, except for this man and a guy that might have been a billionaire at one time in his life, but he's certainly worth 400 to 800 million, who can't be bought. But instead of focusing on what we want to get accomplished, we allow them to separate us with inanity. So Woody, my short answer to your question, you want my short answer? Criminals are selling shares of GTII. Criminals. TD, I don't know TD. I will admit to you that when I read your question, I think you're taking the piss. I really do. But I'll read it out. TD, I just bought 3,500 GTI at 128. Am I screwed? I just can't believe that's a serious question. So let's address it. I'll answer it, because what you're trying to do is spread FUD. And lots of luck. Lots of ruck with that. Lots of ruck. So you paid 128 on 3,500 shares. It closed at 119. So because I'm really slow, I'll take 3,500. Now first I'll take 128 minus 119 equals 9 cents times 3,500. $315 you're down. I'd say you're screwed. You lost $350. I'd say you're screwed. I mean, is that really a serious question? All right, so let's go even further with your question. 3,500 shares times $1.28. You paid 4,480 cents a share. Let's call it 4,500. All right, we'll call it $4,500 you paid. Now let's see, how low did the stock go in its worst drive down? 60 cents, 45 cents. I'll tell you what, we'll use 38 cents. Let's say these criminals can drive the stock down to 38 cents over the next 2 or 3 weeks. So 128. Hey, let's say they drive it down to 28 cents. It's $1. Your stock could be down 3,500 over the next several weeks. Only you can tell yourself whether or not that makes you screwed. Okay, so in return for that absurd analysis of risk to the downside, it's absurd. It's not going to go to 28 cents. But we'll just take the worst possible situation on your 3,500 shares. Am I screwed? What's your return potential for that? Am I screwed? Well, I think it can snap back to $1.50, $1.80, $2.28 in a heartbeat. What's the risk to the shorts as the buy-ins come in GTII? Initially, they'll fight it like they're doing now. But if you believe anywhere close to the numbers that are potentially short out there, well, let's just say it goes to $101.28 in a squeeze. Am I screwed? That's $100 profit, assuming you sell it at that high on 3,500 shares. So let's take that. $350,000 profit. All I can say to you, am I screwed? Just sit down tonight with a pen and paper. You paid $1.28 on 3,500 shares. Sit down and write down what your goals are. You know the catalysts. I'm not going to run through them again. But in a squeeze, there is potentially 400 million shares that have to be bought in without regard to price. And you can sit down with a pad of paper and say, you know what, if the squeeze happens, I'm going to sell a bit here, a bit here, a bit here, and a bit here, and maybe sell the rest at these numbers. Or I'm just going to sell it all at $100. Sit down with a pad of paper and write that down. That's your reward potential. Sit down with a pad of paper and write, why am I asking this absolutely idiotic question? I bought 3,500 shares at $1.28. Am I screwed? And maybe tomorrow you can come back to us with the answer. And then on another piece of paper, write down, where do I think this stock could go if Kurt Kramer started selling again, if Alpine gets a reprieve and they started selling again, and if the trap short in Switzerland started selling again, and let's say 1-800 never happens, let's say that the billion-dollar mine never happens, let's say Wes Christian finds no wrongdoing, let's say the FBI agents find nothing, let's say the dividends don't work, let's say the company stops issuing dividends. What's the absolute worst thing that could happen to GTII? Take that page of paper out and write down your target as the absolute worst. And then say to yourself, you know what? I don't want it. I don't want to experience that. I'm going to just get out tomorrow and take my loss, my $400 loss, and I'm going to find another stock to get into. Am I screwed? Or write down, you know what, I'm in so many different stocks, I'm willing to accept a $3,000 or $4,000 risk to the downside in return for a $300,000 to a $400,000 profit on the upside. Then take out another piece of paper and say, if I'm trying to make $400,000 reward, do I have to take some risk? And maybe tomorrow you can come up, after you write out that answer, you can come on and tell us what your answer is to this. What an idiotic question. Am I screwed? You know who's screwed? Me, having to answer crap like that. I think, Peter Udoka, I do know how to get a hold of Liberty Stock Transfer by email. I think I do. So I'll put it up on Twitter and I'll bring it next time I come live. Why I say that is I think I had to send them an email. Let me look in my sent emails. Yeah. Peter, it's inbox at libertystocktransfer.com. It's inbox at libertystocktransfer.com, and you can reach them there. I don't have a phone number. Where's Jenny? Is she here to tell me to breathe? Breathe deep the gathering doom. Watch lights fade from across the room. All right, TD, I accept your judgment that I'm a jerk. I apologize. TD, if you're still here, and that was a serious question, I was out of line. But to ask a question like that, I just don't know. Am I screwed? I just don't know. Well, I didn't buy more. If you noticed, I didn't buy more GTI this morning because when I did the trade, it was a higher price. But I would buy here if I could, and maybe I will do something tomorrow to buy a little bit more. But I really see a chance. I told you it's a very small position on Look, I just that was a source of one of my sources of information, and there's nothing new. But I thought maybe there would be something. Um, you know, look, maybe I overreacted to TD, but that question, maybe it's not a stupid question. Maybe it was a very good question. So I'll answer that if anybody paid $1.28 for GTII, I don't think you're screwed. In fact, I think it's a very good price, and I think it's a very good choice to acquire the stock anywhere in here. So I'll answer it that way. Oh, very good, Imens. Why did the dog chase after his own tail? To get to the other side. Oh, because he was trying to meet both ends. Oh, did you like that last night? Did my veins pop out? I just, it's hard for me to tell who's a shill and who's trying to do FUD, and if I happen to pick the wrong guy, but come on. The only purpose for a question like that, as I saw it, was to cause, maybe to cause me to overreact, but to cause fear. And I think $1.28 is a massively good buy. I think it's a great buy. I wish I had paid recently $1.28 for the stock. Ham would have said, "Get out of here. Get out of here." He would have said, again, "I can't give you advice. If you buy it, that's your decision. If you need to sell, hey, it's the market. Move along. I'm just here to educate you." That's what he would have said. Well, Merle Auble, to have a 527 average now, I don't know. I don't know enough. But I wouldn't sell it here. But you did have some chances to sell it to take a loss. Like for example, at the end of the year, you could have doubled up your position and then in 31 days sold your original position for a loss. You could have done that. I don't see the ability to sell it now and buy it back in 31 days. But if you have the liquidity, it might make sense to buy it now at TD's $1.28. See if you can buy back the same amount of shares at $1.28. If the stock doesn't do anything for 31 days, get out of your original position and establish that cost basis. If it starts to run, then you have twice the fun. But I don't know. I wouldn't just sit, as Ham always says, I wouldn't stand like a statue. There are things you can do, being down, $4 or $5. There's things you can do. But anyway, you don't have to. You don't have to. I'm not saying you have to do anything. And I'm gonna end this by 6 o'clock because I just had somebody call me a jerk, so I obviously was a jerk, and I shouldn't have overreacted. And that's just a sign that's a sign that we're all under pressure. I'm trying to look up email. Okay, it doesn't exist. It's occurring to me that I probably shouldn't be doing these lives anymore. Hey, Julie Kim, thank you. Yeah, I don't do Tinder. I don't do Tinder. Thank you. Keep up the good works. Well, CB, when I say long term, and I forget what you're talking about, but generally in finance, long term is over a year. But in stocks, you're right. You could say 6 months to 18 months is long term. But, well, that's a good point, Flora. Why get into that trade? Well, I know, Ramundo. I pity the fool. Plum dog mean. Plum dog mean. When everything is against you, you gotta get mean. I mean, plum dog mean. It's the only thing separating you from living or dying. No, that's not what he said. He said if you don't, you neither live nor win. And that's just the way it is. Thank you, Daly. Thank you, Tom. I don't know. I don't like getting upset like that. Yeah, they do stress me out. They do stress me out. You know what? 24 stock bound. Am I a beta or am I a alpha or am I a sigma? You don't know. But then again, I don't date men, so you'll never know. My market cap. Thank you, Moody. Don't get up. A man's got to know his live. You're a good man, Lieutenant. You're a good man, Lieutenant. A good man knows his limitations. Yeah, not everybody has a good day every day. Well, that's actually not a bad question, Ken Myers. Can the logic short take the short position through the SPAC process? And I would even ask Ken, can the logic short bust the SPAC deal? Because that's what the shorts try to do too. You know, the CEOs use their shares as currency to make good deals happen for shareholders, and then the criminals come in and they sell to try to bust those agreements. And I asked about that, and apparently I got 2 answers, and he actually said it on one of the calls. In a way, Brent would like to, if the SPAC wanted to do something else, Brent has better deals, you know. So that's actually a good thing. But I understand that no, they can't break apart the deal. And then the second part of your question is, can they take the short into the SPAC? I've got to think that through. I'm going to answer it this way, Ken. I think the short position can be taken into Logic. Because remember what's going to happen. Logic is putting its digital logic into the SPAC, which is public. The SPAC is public. but it'll be de-specced, and that'll trade separately. But Logic itself simultaneously is acquiring assets, so Logic will continue to trade. I'm going to say no, they can't carry the short into the SPAC, but yes, they might be able to carry the short into with Logic. But it's not a big short anymore, and I really think that some of the selling going on in Logic is people who have leftover feelings of resentment with Logic from when the stock was higher years ago, and the company did a bad financing. I don't know the details, and the stock went down. Then they did a deal to raise money at $3 on the NEO, and the stock went down. Then they did the deal with Ionic, and Ionic, we all know, drove it down. But all of that's in the rearview mirror. So, and if any of those people are selling, they can only sell one time. They can't sell more than one time. So, I don't know if it answers your question, Ken. Alpine, I don't know a lot about what's going on at Alpine right now, but they're in trouble. And they're using delaying tactics, but even in the law, time comes up at some point. I don't have any specific information, but I think FINRA is going to expel Alpine. Alpine's positions will be absorbed by another prime broker, but they won't want to take this deal. Good night, Wolf. I'm sorry for my intemperance. Thank you very much, Wolfie. HNRC. I love that, GTII. Somebody else said they were going to buy a Ford GTII. I think 128 is a great price, and that's probably why, maybe I overreacted. I didn't see it as a serious question. But I think 128 is so cheap. I think 128 is a bargain for GTII. Does it mean there's no risk? No. There can still be risk. Does it mean I'm going to be right? No. But, I wish I had bought it 128. Yeah, maybe limit the length. I don't know. It's hard. You'd be amazed when all right, Wolfie, thank you. You'd be amazed once it's going. I want to answer everybody's question, but yeah, that's probably what's Flora's idea. Oh, the license plate, I think that's great. Or a Volkswagen GTII. So anyway, 20 more minutes, and then I'm going to go walk Lucky. I think this is huge. Nobody reads this paper, but look at that. It says Securities and Exchange Commission, and it says, once you look carefully at what's really going on under the hood of the regulatory state, you can't help but be stunned. Elon Musk is stepping down? Is he going to marry Johnny Depp's wife? Yeah, I shouldn't have overreacted to that, but anyway. Let me see the news on Elon Musk. I don't see that news. Oh, there he does. I do see it. Excited to announce that he has a new CEO for Twitter. She will be starting in 6 weeks. I wonder if it's Amber Heard. Oh, maybe it's that woman from Anheuser-Busch. When's the call later? I gotta walk my dog, and I want to eat something, because I think that's partly why I was on edge. But yeah, I can go on a call. It's actually this paper. Here's the front page. It's got so much information in it. It's really a good newspaper, but it's not a liberal paper. So if you want liberal, buy the Washington Post. It doesn't come every day, CB. I didn't see Phil Attio's tweet. Well, Dominic Pontaleo, I think that's an interesting question, but no, I don't think it would. I don't think the plunge protection team would get involved. If you look at the system as a whole, my sister used to joke. I'm not going to say it, but if you look at it in total, the money being lost by some banks are being made in your accounts. So I don't think the plunge protection team would come in, because the system in total is just moving value from one side to the other. The second part is, you've seen squeezes happen before, and there's enough money to handle this squeeze in the system. And then finally, hedge funds and banks, that if GTII goes to some enormous number, they'll jump in at the highs and make money on the way down. So no, I don't think they'll stop trading or have a plunge protection team. It comes in a New York Times bag, and it's $4.50 an issue. This is dated Wednesday. I don't know the answer. I'd say I get it at least twice or 3 times a week. And I just can't keep up with reading all the information. It has a lot of stuff in it. But anyway, I'd rather be reading the Washington Post or the New York Times, but I don't read those because they're not newspapers anymore. How do I recharge? That's the thing. I'm not really good at recharging. I used to go out and drink with the mates, but I don't drink. What makes me smile? I don't know. I like it when like that little kid goes by. I like it when little kids are happy and gleeful. I like it when dogs and animals are happy. And I like a good sense of humor. But I don't know. I don't know how to recharge. It'd be nice to, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I like books and I like movies sometimes, but my mind's always running right now. Chauncey Gardner is good. I like, but that sense of humor hasn't aged completely well. I know, Ralph. I think $1.28 is a great price. I gotta walk him. I don't know. That's why I reacted to that. Phil Achatio. I don't know. I haven't. It is a paper. I'm trying to look at some of your questions. Dogs help, kids help. Yeah. But yeah, they make you think too much. I don't know the answer. I've never been. I don't know. I don't know the answer. The weather is awesome. Absolutely gorgeous. Maybe I can show you. See how awesome it is? Gator King. You know what? This time I'm just going to laugh instead of reacting to a random name TD. GTII is down because there were more sellers than buyers. Thanks for Tom Jones. I remember hearing that song when I was 14. Yeah, he was anyway. I never listened to him growing up, really, because we made fun of him. But I do remember my dad's best friend's sister had a couple parties where they played those songs, Delilah and all that, and he was great. I do, Flora. I have to go eat and rest and walk my dog. So 9 more minutes. if your account's not down more than 120, there's 2 streets in Detroit named after me. Not me personally, but someone in my family. Yeah, stocks go up and down. But, in fairness to TD, I guess he could have bought the stock at maybe 108. Maybe he's worried that he paid 20 cents too much. This is not a stock, GTII, in my judgment, although you would have done very, very well over the last 2 years. It's not a stock to trade. I have people that I recommended the stock to who have done amazingly well. They buy when it's down, sell when it's up, and now they've made money and they own their stock free and clear. But to me, GTII is a situation where they have to buy back the criminal shorts, and when it happens, the stock is going to go so high and you're not going to be able to buy anymore that, to me, it's, whether you pay 128, 158, or 118 is going to be all a blur. So if you're buying it at 128 and you're worried if you're at risk, you shouldn't be buying this stock, in my judgment. There are stocks out there that you can buy at 128, trade up a little bit, get out. Avid is great at picking stocks and telling you when to get out too. Arca's pretty good. I've watched some of his. Ace is good. But I think GTII is a stock to try to hold through the storm and see what happens when it runs. Having said that, hey, Cater King, you bought at 275. I bought up there. Not everything, but I've, the other gentleman, I forgot his name, I've slowly taken my losses and averaged down, but yeah, 275. All right, Connor McGregor. So is anyone else terrified that GTII is never going to go over $2? MFN, I got a 917 cost basis on GTII. That can't be true. It never traded that high. So that's just not truthful. It went to 897, I think, on the high. So MFN, at the risk of you calling me a jerk, it's impossible that you have a cost basis at 917. Are people terrified that it's never going over $2? I don't know. I'll let people answer your question themselves. But if you're in the stock and you think it's not going to go over $2, number one, you don't have to be terrified. You can be really rational about it. But number two, you shouldn't be in the stock. I think if you're a short, you should be terrified it's going to go over $2. If you're the short that's been in trouble over the last couple of days, you should be petrified that the stock's going to go over $2 and you're going to lose a lot of money. And you might even lose your ability to trade. Yeah, there's the peak, 897. Well, I think the wording of that question might mean that Connor is a short, because he might be letting on that he's terrified of it going above 2. But I don't know. I'm tired of getting upset, and then somebody calling me a jerk because I probably shouldn't have gotten upset at that person. Let me see this. His average could be over 9 because they add in the cost of the trade to the share price. Yeah, but all right, so Basamo, his average could be 917 from the average fee, but that means he doesn't own very much. Because if it's $6.95 to buy the stock and he bought 10,000 shares at $8.97, he's not paying over $9. I suppose if he bought 100 shares at $8.97 and you added $6.95 to it, that would be over $9.17, I guess. So if he only bought a few hundred shares at $8.97 and he paid $6.95 in commission, yeah, maybe it's $9.17, including commission. I tend to react a little bit when I think there's fudsters because I don't want them scaring. I'm protective, but you're right. I should be more like Clint. Although Clint's lost his temper. To buy it at its high is highly unlikely. Well, if he only bought 100 or 200, 300 shares at the high, I would really question why he wouldn't have bought some back when it went down to 60 cents or bought some at $1 or $2. It just averaged down. I don't understand the thinking when you were willing to pay $9 a share and the story has gotten better, why you wouldn't, at least for a trade, average down. I mean, buying the same number of shares at $1, he would have been able to, I guess, bring his cost basis down to $5. And I would attempt that all day long, because if you're negative on the stock, you can see the potential of it rallying back to $3, $4, $5, $6. You might not see it going back to $9. So I don't understand why people don't act. They don't make choices. They get frozen. I told you what I did today. I may regret it massively in a week or two. On the other hand, I swung the bat. Oh, you meant 91 cents. 91 cents. That makes more sense. That's a good price. Basama, you're down 4K. Yeah, I have to admit, I'm not enjoying what they've done to my Sangma. Is that right, Josh B. Real Estate? Yeah. You know, smart is as smart does. Smart is as smart does. I notice No, he said, when I get to liking people, they don't stick around very long. And the chief says, I notice when you get to disliking people, they don't stick around very long either. One fix-it. If he bought 35 shares at $8.97 with a $7 trade fee, his average would be $9.17. So yeah, okay, so he could. Yeah, Jesus lost his temper, but he also had great tenderness and patience and understanding. All right. I'm going to quickly say goodnight because I have to. I don't know when the call is tonight, but I'm going. If you didn't average down, you're right. I'm going to let it go at that. I got to return this call. So I think he lost his temper at the whatever you call those priests that showed disrespect in his father's house. So anyway, I'm going to say, as I always do, peace to each of you, peace, love, and happiness. And we'll maybe see you later today, but we'll certainly catch you tomorrow. Cheers.